Hello world, hello friends. If you're here for the tools and resources I've used for UI designing, you can skip over to it using the timestamp. For those interested in the devlog, welcome. I've been working on a beta for my financial literacy game called Rainy Day and feel ready to make it happen in my next devlog. Before I get into it, I just want to quickly say that I've been trying to get this game released before the year ends, but it's just not possible. The thought of it all just keeps delaying me in updating everyone with what's going on. There are a lot more to work on and they just keep coming as I go. So here's where Rainy Day is at. As you can already kind of see with the startup screen to show my appreciation for the supporters of the game's development, I have been working on making the game look better and provide better user experience. The first step I took to better user experience is for the game to consider the top countries in which mobile games are very popular, hoping to localize and quote-unquote speak the same language as the users. As of now, it's just a tutorial mode and the main menu that I have localization set up for, but the system is there ready for me to localize all of the text within the game. One neat thing is that Unity makes this easy and even has a debugger to easily switch between languages. Right after the language selection prompt is another prompt for the player to input their username. This is information that I can use not only on the leaderboard but somewhere else in the game to give that feeling of connection, like when someone says your name in real life. It's another feature that I can think of for the next devlog. Once everything is set up, the player then goes through the tutorial in which they learn the simple game mechanics of movement, how the deposit mechanic works, and such. The wording in the tutorial for sure needs a little more work, but as of now I think it already does a good job in preparing players for all the round of gameplay, aka hours they may play. And while we're here in the tutorial, I'll briefly mention the list of changes made to improve the player's overall experience. Curved blocks have been made and imported from Blender. All moving objects in play leave a disappearing trail that follows their movement. The scoring text bounces or shakes every time it goes up or down. A text pop-up appears for successful stacks. The player movement is clamped at the ends of the screen and adjusts accordingly with the camera view. And a deposit prompt appears once the player reaches the 40% performance threshold for the round of gameplay that enables them to clear their stack and continue on. And aside from everything else I just mentioned, the game now has a sense of theme that supports the game mechanics and vice versa. The buttons on most screens are organized in a stacking pattern and have the different colors as well as sizes of the falling money seen in the actual gameplay. With these buttons, I try to prioritize one over the other based on the actual value of their colors, first being the honey yellow, second being the sheer green, and last being the gruel color. The stacked look also naturally allows me to design the highest object in the stack to be the button I want most attention on. This use of color and natural prioritization is now all over the game. Objectives, referred to as bonuses in the game, are colored based on the value of their reward. The player is also highlighted with the highest value associated for color, which again is honey yellow, and so much more. And the countdown before the start of every hour also has a stoplight design style now that perfectly fits the theme of the game. As a nice little touch as well, I've added a quick preview of the current bonuses during the countdown. I've also added more content for the game that is aligned with providing subtle financial literacy or awareness for players. So the first new addition is a savings account. This has been added to the game to lock the stock feature in the game and give the general advice of having a readily available decent savings first before trying to invest. This upgrade also has daily returns higher than the common percent return, 3% or so, provided by big banks to hopefully inform players that there are places to put their readily available money where it can actually grow. Second is the business account upgrade, a feature I thought I should put in the game for players who want to put in more hours. The idea is literally just that. It will give players more hours per day to gain income, and it's somewhat of a way to let players know there are other ways to earn money than a 9-to-5 job with side hustles, monetized hobbies, etc. Now for the tips, tools, and resources I've used for UI designing. And to start this section off, it's generally good to have an idea on paper or something of how you want your UI to look. A resource I heard from a good friend of mine to help generate ideas is a website called Game UI Database. It's self-explanatory and will help you find something to base your design off of. Don't forget to look outside of just video games for inspiration as well. Well Simple, for example, has heavily inspired the design of Rainy Day. Next would be to pick and stick to a color palette, and coolers make it super easy. You can literally just click a button to continually generate color palettes. It allows you to lock colors you liked as well, so that it stays every time you ask for more different colors that goes with it. And once you're satisfied, you can export your palette for free. I would also like to mention an extension for Mozilla that I'm sure has similar available products out there called Color Pick Eyedropper. Tools like this help in figuring out the exact color of the designs you may have been inspired with, so you can use it how you want in your design. And the last resource I found really useful is Google Fonts and Icons that is free for commercial use. Fonts have expression and communicates a lot to users about designs more than we realize, so having access to a whole bunch of them for your design is great. And to go with the fonts are the icons as well, to really nail down what you're trying to communicate. And that is it for this devlog. As usual, subscribe on here or on the preferred media in my link tree down in the description to stay updated. If you're ever interested in having your name forever embedded in the startup screen of the game, consider doing a top donation subscription tier on my website. Anything helps, so even a free subscription on there is huge, and you will be emailed a link to beta test rainy day once it's available. Thank you for tuning in, and special thank you shout out to my website supporters who donated in December. Thank you, Laura Milligan.